have to say that I reached a point where I had nobody and no one else to depend on but God. Your family can't understand, they can't help. The doctor is treating you, he doesn't know what you're going through. Your friends are here or there, and it reached a point where you're so isolated. And that's when I actually started, after I got through all my angry conversations with God, I started now rekindling my relationship with him. And I was like, you know what? We're in this together.
The tagline on CT is, you never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. We are listening to, I don't know what, I don't want to call it incredible at this point. It's heart-wrenching. It's painful at this stage of the story. We're listening to Sid's story, Sidney Chahonyo's story. So Sid, you are about to enter the second treatment to fight this cancer. And I'll keep saying this again, you're 19 at this stage. Okay, continue, then I'll answer the other questions.
So I finished my radiotherapy. As I said, I did my radiotherapy for about 4 months, on and off. Then, obviously, the doctor does the scans, and he says, okay, I think it's now time to try hit it with chemo. Chemotherapy is another form of treatment. One of the most common, the two most common types of treatment for cancer are radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Nowadays, there are all sorts of advancements in technology. There are different therapies like immunotherapy, or there are sometimes you take radiotherapy pills, like you swallow a pill and it's, the radiation comes from the pill. But
for real?
Yes. But now I'm going into chemo. Chemotherapy was like, you go in to get a drip. They get your drug, they administer it intravenously through your veins. Chemotherapy cycle was very different from radiotherapy. Chemo, I would be admitted. I remember being admitted in Nairobi Hospital from between Monday and Thursday. And in that time, they would mix my drugs, give me the drugs, give me everything else they needed to give me. And then they release me. Because the chemotherapy drugs, I remember my drug is called carboplatin. Chemotherapy drugs are toxic. So if they continually give it to you, they're actually poisoning you. It's almost like poison. But it's very effective with cancerous cells. So the specific drugs that they have manufactured target cancerous cells. So outgoing on Monday, they admit me, they set me up, they start giving me my drip. And they'd give me intermittently for about 4 days. Then I'd be released on Thursday to go back home. One, because of the toxicity of the drug, you have to take a break for your body to flush it out the system. And then I would have to wait for a period of 3 weeks for my body to heal from the chemo that I've gotten. And then before I go back for the next session of chemo, they call it a bout. The next bout of chemo, I'd have to do tests, blood work, scans, all those things to make sure my body is strong enough to take the next round of chemo.
And then do they change the dose? Because when you're saying it's not as standardized for everybody.
Yes.
They're like, okay, we need to put 10% of this, 80% of this. Is it something like that?
It's definitely something that they tailor to everybody. And also depending on how you are and how you're responding to the treatment, they also change the dosage. So after doing my tests to see whether I'm strong enough, then they admit me again for the next round. So I was meant to do 6 bouts of 6 rounds of chemo. And then from there, I do tests to see, okay, this is where we have reached. What's the next course of action?
Because the aim is to kill that growth.
Yes. So it's already been shrunk by the radiotherapy. Now the chemo is hopefully going to kill it off. Side effects were very similar for me. Nausea, vomiting, weakness, no appetite. But for me, strangely enough, a lot of people say chemo was worse than radiotherapy for them. For me, I think radiotherapy was harder. But everyone has a different journey. The hospital became my second home. I knew everyone in the hospital. Till today, I still meet watches from the hospital. Chahonyo. Because, I was there a lot. I cannot emphasize the importance of nurses enough. My oncologist, I would come in, maybe I would see him for 20, 30 minutes, or go to the appointment for 20, 30 minutes. The nurses were with me day, night, 24/7. And as I said, it's a very isolating disease. And I started talking a lot to the nurses, especially the younger ones, not my age, obviously, but who I could relate with more. So for me, I remember every nurse that actually treated me. And till today, I'm so grateful to the nursing team, because without them, they were my strength when my family was not there in the hospital. They are there with you 24/7. At 4 a.m. when the pain is bad, they're the ones who can say, can we give him this for the pain? Can we do this? Can we do this? So chemo was...
When you talk about the pain, explain to me what happens. Is it the pain depending on you? Just walk me through the pain journey. Because that's a fear.
It's different aspects of pain. Obviously, radiotherapy, I told you my throat was very sensitive. It was painful. But also because of the radiation, there are other things that are going on. You're getting headaches, you're getting pain where the tumor is. With chemo, sometimes I can't even explain what it was. I'll give you one example. They give you the drugs intravenously through your veins. And because the chemotherapy drugs are toxic, they start affecting your veins. It reached a point where I used to call my veins tattoos, because you could see all my veins. They had a black hue to them, because the toxicity of the drugs has affected the veins. So they'll start on this side. This one is no longer viable. They come to this hand. They come to the elbow. They come to the palm. There was a time they were even looking in my legs. They check in the neck if they can find something. So they used to burn. So literally in my head, that's what I envisioned, that my veins were internally just burning because of the toxicity of the drugs. Sometimes it is you've thrown up and you've thrown up and you've thrown up and there's nothing left. You're weak. You have a headache. The pain was never really localized where the tumor was. It was just effects of the medication you're going through.
Because they have to kill it with poison, as you're saying.
Yes, exactly. So you're being poisoned.
And that poison is affecting good and bad.
Yes.
Including the route to get to the bad.
Yes.
It's been affected.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was chemo for me. I remember.
And how long did chemo take for you? You said 5 bouts.
I was supposed to do 6 bouts, then I see. I remember once I was in the hospital and I had gone down to the clinic to see my doctor. And there were these 2 Somali ladies and a little girl. Obviously, they had their hijabs and all that. And this was during my radiotherapy. And she was about 8, 9 years old. And she was a typical 8, 9-year-old. Running around, being told, don't do this, don't do that, don't play with this, blah, 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 trying to keep her busy, give her sweets, blah, blah. So at that point, I assumed it was one of the mothers who was going through radiotherapy. And one day she took off her hijab and her hair had fallen off. Oh, that's another thing that happened to me. My hair fell off. I got kind of like burns. It looked like I'd been burnt with hot water when I was doing the radiotherapy because of wear. So even I'd go to cut my hair and they'd be like, hey, Nili Fanyika, what happened? I'm like, I don't want to explain my story over. Will you choma? Yeah. You don't even want to.
God.
So this girl removes her hijab and she has a tube here, a feeding tube. Turns out she was living in the hospital. She would come down for her radiotherapy and go back up. And I was like, I wouldn't even have thought she was sick. If it wasn't for her removing her hijab, I thought it was one of the two ladies she was with.
Yeah.
Just shows you how resilient kids can be. But anyway, coming back to chemo, how many bouts did I do? I was supposed to do 6, right? I do my first one, I do my second one. All of a sudden, I can't find my drug locally. Carboplatin.
Yeah.
Luckily, my sister was a pilot for Kenya Airways at that point. So I'm like, okay, we'll find it somewhere else and we'll buy it. I remember here it cost, I think, 50,000 shillings per vial. For one session for 4 days. Yeah.
One bout.
Yeah, for one bout. No, 50,000 just for the chemo drug. Between Monday and Thursday, the bill was about 400,000 shillings.
Yeah.
And that's just the hospital bill without the drugs they're giving you. There was a point I was taking almost 15 tablets a day. I mean, 8 to 9 in one sitting.
And what are those tablets for?
To manage all the symptoms. All the symptoms. Maybe there's some for pain. Maybe there's a
Nausea.
blood thinner. Maybe there's this or that. Depending on how you're reacting, they help manage your symptoms and your reaction. So I couldn't find my drug. My sister was a pilot. She asked her pilot friends, tapped into her networks. We talked to our friends and our relatives out of the country. Couldn't find it in the UK. Couldn't find it in the US. Couldn't find it in Australia. Luckily, someone found it in Dubai. And we just brought all of them, for the next 6 bouts, brought them home. So I do 5 bouts. Then I take a break. Remember, I have to rest for 3 weeks so that I can heal from the toxicity. After 3 weeks, I do my test to see whether I'm strong enough to go through the next bout. I wait for the test results, 10, 15 days. I go back, see the doctor, and he says, there's no sign of cancer in your body.
What?
Just like that. It's gone. I'm actually very emotional. I'm almost crying because it's taking me back to, that feeling of what? What did you just say? There's no sign of cancer in your body. My treatment I started in February 2004 is when I started my radiotherapy. November 2004, there's no sign of cancer in my body.
Wow.
And to me, it was like, because of my faith, I have to say that I reached a point where I had nobody and no one else to depend on but God. Your family can't understand, they can't help. The doctor is treating you, he doesn't know what you're going through. Your friends are here or there. And it reached a point where you're so isolated. And that's when I actually started, after I got through all my angry conversations with God, I started now rekindling my relationship with him. And I was like, you know what? We're in this together. You've allowed this to happen. What's going on here? Start having conversations. And I went deep into my faith. And I think that's another thing that I actually believe helped me through it. Just talking to God, my prayers. I mean, I would talk to him the way I'm talking to you right now. Hey man, what's happening? This pain over here, this nini, what? That time the family is still going through financial issues. Guys are sacrificing for you, and it's not easy. Luckily, my parents were able to pull the money. My family took loans, talked to relatives, talked to friends.
There's a harambe done for you?
We didn't do a harambe per se, but almost like a silent harambe, where you reach out to people on a personal level. Yeah. And as I'm saying, just the admission from Monday to Thursday was 400,000 shillings, let alone everything else you're doing, the diagnostics, the tests, the doctor's fees, blah, blah.
The radiotherapy.
So, yeah, so it was quite expensive.
So the guy comes and tells you, wow, that's heavy. That's, first of all, 2004 must have been your most insane year ever. But when he tells you you're cleared, actually, no, first of all, let me ask, in this time, have you talked to anybody else who's gone through this or going through this?
It's very strange. When I was diagnosed, when I saw my oncologist, he told me, I've treated a couple of these cases. If you want me to put you in touch with someone who's gone through it, you can relate to someone your age, I can. But I never asked for it. I don't know why. So I've not talked to anyone who has experienced it. At that age, cancer was old people dying. I lost one of my grandfathers to cancer. This auntie there, that auntie there. It was there, but it was very far removed. So there was not even that notion of maybe there are other guys I can hang out with. I wasn't even thinking of that aspect. Me, I was just thinking of, I'm getting through this thing. What's next? Treatment, chemo, this, that. So I had not talked to anybody till that point who has gone through cancer.
Okay. He tells you, we can't see this thing. In other words, in essence, he's telling you you're cancer-free. But what does that mean?
So in the cancer world, there's never really a word like cure. You're cured or you're healed. It is, we cannot see cancer in your body. However, there's a chance you might not have gotten everything and maybe they're too small to see right now and they might come back, or we just need to monitor you now. So right now, we cannot see any signs of cancer in your body, right? So the protocol dictates that they now start tests. So every 3 months, initially every 3 months I would go in, do tests, my MRI, my blood work, all those things, check for the markers, nothing. I did that for about a year. After a year, I started going every 6 months. Every 6 months I do my tests. Are you okay? So in your head, you're like, there's no sign, but the way these guys are checking, it's like they're expecting somebody to come back. Eventually, I started doing yearly tests. And it's only after the 5-year mark that they actually say, they don't say you're healed. They either say disease-free or 5-year survival. They don't say you're healed because there's always a chance. Even right now, I can't donate blood because I'm a cancer survivor. I don't know if they think there's a chance that I might pass on that trait, or that maybe there's a cell somewhere that I might transfer to someone else, but I can't donate blood at all because of my cancer. So even now, I still go every once in a while. I'm supposed to be going yearly, but I haven't gone for maybe 2 years. So there's always that chance or that thing in the back of your mind that this thing might come back. Sometimes I get headaches and flu symptoms, or I nosebleed, and I'm like, hey. Or I see my daughter I think that's one of the scariest things. I see my daughter and she has this flu and it's not going, and you've done this, you've taken these drugs, and and I'm like, hey, or she's having headaches all the time, and you kind of,
Trauma.
it takes you back. It worries you quite a bit. But there's no point in my life I'll ever be like, I'm done, no more cancer. There's always that. Obviously, I know it's not coming back, but there are certain things that happen that take you back to that frame of mind.
It triggers.
Even like right now, when I'm doing my yearly checks, I'll do my checks, and for that 10 to 15 days, I'm stressed. Like I'm completely stressed. I know I'm fine, but until now I go and they tell me, you're good, you're still good. Like I'm completely stressed. So there's always that thought in the back of your mind that maybe there's a chance.
Wow. When you're in the hospital, were you around other guys who are also going through the chemo? Or
Was
the
I?
chemo, were you surrounded by, that you talked about the small girl, were you surrounded by other people going through chemo?
Not really.
You had your own
You
wing?
see, when you go for radiotherapy, it's different because it's an outpatient procedure. Okay, some are inpatient, but you're in a room and all of you are waiting for your radiotherapy appointment, So you're going in one by one. It's like, then you go to the X-ray machine. But with chemo, I was at Nairobi Hospital. I was in a private room.
Okay.
By myself. So I wasn't really interacting with anyone else except my family, people who'd come to visit me, and the nurses. Yeah. So I was quite isolated.
Okay. This is a sad one that I have to ask this question, but abuse by hospital institutions for the sake of revenue in this process. So for example, using your situation to make more revenue. I'm not saying you experienced it, but have you heard of those situations? You get what I mean?
I have heard of those situations, and it's very tough. Right now, I work with an organization called Hope for Cancer Kids. We support children from low-income backgrounds that cannot afford treatment. We provide access to treatment. We create awareness. We do a lot of lobbying and advocacy. We do a lot of capacity building of the parents, psychosocial support, that kind of thing. Sometimes you find in the public space, there's a drug stockout. So people are supposed to be doing their chemo, the drug is not available.
And they don't have a sister who's a pilot.
Pardon? Yes,
They don't have a sister who's a pilot.
Yes, and this is someone who didn't even have 500 shillings to pay for NHIF or the Social Health Authority, right? They didn't even have transport to come from their village to Nairobi. They're sleeping in the hospital corridors because they don't want to miss their appointment. There's a drug stockout. You're told it's not available here. We don't know when it will be available. But I have a friend, go to this chemist, you'll get a discount. You go to the chemist, the drug is sold as almost 2-3 times the price. Then you come back with that drug from the hospital, and because it was not procured through the government procurement system, KEMSA, Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, this thing had been approved by insurance, right? By Social Health Authority. But because the drug was not procured through the government system, you have to pay the hospital to administer that drug to you. So I've had some of the I'm not saying everyone does it, some of the doctors have deals at these chemists. And they say, I'll send you some guys to buy this drug.
Give me some cut.
Give me a cut. I've had it happen. And also, why should the same drug,
that is not stocked here because of,
be 3 times the price outside of the hospital? And why can't the hospital go and procure it from that pharmacy? Because they are mandated to get it from KEMSA, right? And it's so sad. It's reached a point where a drug could be at Kenyatta Hospital, and another public institution in Nairobi, maybe KU, needs it, but they cannot even exchange that drug. So one child is dying here while the drug is expiring here.
Yeah.
So I have had cases. There's a case that a child was someone reached out to us and said, this child needs a prosthetic. Like they've lost their leg due to the cancer. They had to cut off the leg at a certain point, and they need to have a prosthetic limb. And we were referred to this guy. And this guy, the quotes he's giving us were like, this is ridiculous. We talked to 2-3 other providers, and their costs are almost less than quarter of what this guy was providing. And it's like he's using that. These guys are, they are non-profit, they must have money. Maybe they have grant money. I can gonga them. I can make some money off them. You have cases where surgeons inflate their cost just to do a surgery. And it's happened. Gladly or happily, a lot of the people in that profession have taken an oath, and they do it out of passion. There are a few bad apples everywhere. But generally, all the oncologists, all the medical professionals, the nurses, the pharmacists, generally are very good. But you'll always have 1 or 2 cases here. You'll always have a bad apple here or there. And this is not to say that it is a
common. It's
common.
The norm.
It's rare, but it does happen.
Okay. So where does your life go? We're at November 2024.
Yes.
No, 2004.
2024. Yes. 2004.
I mean, Sido, you must have come out like I knew you. Granted, I was one of the guys in uni at this time. In fact, I came back to Kenya 2004. But the time I think I saw you after that, you were night and day, completely different human being. How does this thing change you? I've had the God part because now you come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And not just you.
I tell everyone.
In fact, we could probably just say this. I think it changed your whole family.
Let me put it this way. I wouldn't be who I am right now, today, if I had not gone through cancer. I'm still Sido. But you start to look at life from a different lens. Things you used to, appreciate so much, just going out and drinking and having fun and all those things, they are no longer that important to you. You start appreciating the fact that I can swallow water now without pain. That's a blessing for me. Because I know what it is like not to be able to drink water, to be scared of drinking water because it's so painful just to swallow. So I started looking at life from a different lens. At that point, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew that God had given me a second chance at life. And I was in a period where I was like, okay, what am I meant to be doing with my life? I started looking for purpose.
Wow.
Before, life was like, okay, aeronautical engineering, architecture, whatever it is. It was just, that's what I want to do so I can make money, so I can have a good life. But also do something I enjoy doing. But now it's like, there's so much more to life than just existing. I want to do something that I'm passionate about, and I want to do something that's making a difference in someone else's life. And at that point, I decided to, because I was looking for ways to give back. Initially, what happened was a lot of friends of mine started calling me, my uncle has cancer, my nephew has cancer, my sister, my brother has cancer. Can you just come and talk to them? Just so they can talk to someone who, is going through what they're going through. So I'd go and talk to people, and for me, I didn't really think much was happening.
This is 2005 now.
This is 2004, beginning 2005.
Okay.
So I'd go, I'd see someone, we'd talk, they'd ask me to come back or they wouldn't. I remember very clearly there's this one friend of mine who told me their uncle had cancer. And I went to sit down, and he was an elderly guy. Okay, not that old, but as a 19-year-old, he was old. He must have been maybe in his 50s. And he had cancer, and we sat down, and he didn't even talk to them about what was going on. So I sat down with him, and for some reason, he opened up to me. And he talked to me, we talked, and he invited me a second time, and he invited me a third time, he invited me a fourth time. Then he kind of went quiet. A year down the line, this friend who had invited me called me and told me, unfortunately, we lost him. But I just wanted you to know that whatever you did to him, it's like he had reached a point where he was depressed, he had given up, he didn't want to fight, he was just grumpy and miserable. But from the time you started talking to him, it's like you gave him a new lease in life. Even though he didn't make it, him and we are so grateful for what you did for him. And I'm like, I just went to talk to the guy. And that's when I started realizing, okay, maybe there's something more to this. So I decided I wanted to volunteer. And for some reason, I picked the pediatric oncology ward. I went to talk to a friend of my mom's who was the head of nursing at Kenyatta Hospital. And I told her, she knew my story, obviously. And she said, I think there's a ward you can volunteer at, where you can at least just, there are kids who have cancer and blah, 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 and they have these needs and these needs. So I started volunteering. And I went to Kenyatta Hospital every day, okay, not every day, Monday to Friday, from 8 to 5, for 6 months straight.
This is 2005.
Yes.
So first, okay, Sido. So you are, I'm going to use the words cancer-free in quotes. You have been told we can't see the cancer.
Yes.
November 2004. Okay, go on.
So 2005, I'm in the hospital, and I'm going there daily. Play with the kids, talk to them. Sometimes at that time, a kid could be sitting in the bed. The specific ward I went to is called Ward 1E. It's a long-term ward where for one reason or another, their parents cannot be with them. Either their parents come from far and they are both working, so they might even see their parents twice in a year. So literally the kids are solo in the ward. And these are kids, average age 6 to 13. Actually 6 to maybe about 9, 10, the average age. So the kid could be sitting there in the ward waiting to be taken for an x-ray for 3 days. Because the nurses are overwhelmed, the numbers are high, they're administering medication, they're taking care of the kids, they're talking to the parents, they're liaising with the doctors, and it's the biggest referral hospital. So almost 70% of the national cases are referred there.
70% of the national cases?
Yes.
Means kids from all across the country?
All across the country. So sometimes I would take them to their doctor's clinic. Sometimes I would take them for an x-ray. Sometimes I'd wheel them down to physiotherapy. A lot of the time I just used to play with the kids, just talk to them, let them know that there's someone out there for them. Because as I said, these kids are not with their parents. So their nurses are like their second parents. And then I'm like the person who has become consistent in their lives. Because everyone else, my parents are not here, the nurses are here, but even them, they rotate their shifts, their what. They used to get so excited because they felt like, someone actually, my parents, I might see them once or twice in a year. So I was their constant.
Wow.
And I did that for about 6 months.
No, just wait. Your story, this is not sounded, you've not been this person at all. In the story that you've given us thus far.
Yeah.
I've not heard you say, oh, by the way, I mean, granted, you're not a bad guy, but Kenyatta Hospital.
Yes.
My guy.
Yes, Kenyatta Hospital.
Had you even stepped in Kenyatta Hospital before?
I had, because remember I said my oncologist was the head of chemo at Kenyatta the head of radio at Nairobi Hospital. But I think I went to his office at Kenyatta like twice.
Yeah.
The whole time I saw him.
Yeah.
But when I talked to my mom's friend and she's like, this is where the biggest need is. If you really want to give back, if you really want to find out how you can help these kids, this is where you learn.
What was a day like there for you? What I mean, not, I'm talking about emotionally. What did it do?
At first, it's a bit difficult Secondly, half the time you can't tell these kids are sick. These kids are just kids. They're running, bouncing off walls, playing with each other, fighting with each other, just kids being kids.
And like, how many kids are this? I know you said 70% of.
Well, in that particular ward, it has a capacity of 28 kids.
Okay.
The long-term ward, Ward 1E. Average, there's usually about 23, 24 kids at any one time.
Ages?
On average, 7 to 10.
Okay.
6 to 10 on average, the average age. So you're there with the kids. You're their person. They know you're going to come tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. You almost become like family to them. There are those kids who are bouncing off the walls, but in 2, 3, 4 of the beds or in the isolation rooms, you can see there are kids who are really sick. So sometimes I'll just sit down with those ones who can't play or go to the playground, or can't get off the bed, or they're on chemo, so they're attached to the IV, so they're in the bed. And then it starts becoming, hey, you walk in one day and the bed is freshly made. Hey, alienda wapi? He went home. No, huyu alienda. Passed on. And let me tell you something that I noticed. Life is very funny. You'll find the kid is so sick in bed, then all of a sudden, they look like they're on the up. They get up, they're, you're playing with them, you're this, that. The next day you're told, oh, he passed on at night. And you're like, eh? And then you start to see. And they might not necessarily tell all the kids exactly what's going on, but kids are kids. They understand. And kids are smart. So you start realizing every couple of weeks, this one has gone, that one has gone, this one has died, that one has. There are also some, they'll go home, they'll come back. There are some who will disappear. But emotionally, it was a roller coaster. I was so happy just to be with those kids, and I loved them. I fell in love with those kids. But at the same time, emotionally, you're like, hey, how long can I do this? Just keep losing them and losing them and losing them and losing them. So I went back to talk to my mom's friend who had put me in touch with the ward. And I told her, I don't know, I want to do more, but I don't know how to do more. And she said, there's a friend of mine I want you to meet. This was a doctor at Kenyatta Hospital. She was running the pain and palliative care unit. And there's an organization that she works with, and I think, maybe you'd be a good fit. So she called in this lady, and we had a very good conversation. We talked for like 2 hours, just talking the way we're talking now. And she's like, I work with an organization called Hope for Cancer Kids, and I think you'd be a good fit. And we're actually looking for people to join our team. And I'm like, oh, okay. So me, I'm thinking it's a job or a volunteer position. And she's like, we're actually restructuring the board, and I'd like you to join our board. I'm like, what? Me, I'm 19, eh? Huh? So anyway, actually, no, that came much later. At that time, I wasn't 19. But at that point, I finished volunteering. I decided to go back to school. I went to Aussie, the Australian Studies Institute in Westlands. I got my bachelor's degree from an Australian university.
What are you studying there?
Huh? What did I study?
There.
International business and marketing. Before that, right, I'd been out of school for some time now, right? I finished 2003 June. Whole of 2004, I'm doing treatment. 2005, I start thinking, what do I want to do with my life? I didn't want to do aeronautical engineering anymore.
Yeah.
I decided, I want to do medicine. God must have saved me so that I can help these kids by being an oncologist. I applied to a couple of schools. One of the schools in South Africa told me, oh, since you did everything in Kenya, we want you to come here and do just a short course, just to see how you perform so we can grade you based on South African standards.
So, and you said since you did everything, what is this everything?
My A-levels and my O-levels, all my schooling had been in Kenya.
Come and go do your matrix.
Yes. So, luckily, my sister was living in SA at the time.
Where in SA?
Johannesburg.
Okay.
So I went and joined her, and I joined some school. It was almost like a high school, and they gave me some subjects to do. Maths, English, of course, then, your physics, your chemistry, your biology, your whatever. And I was there for a whole year, and I did very well. I topped my class. I got all these awards. Then they said, in November 2000 and... Was this 2000? This was in 2006. November 2006, they said, okay, now what we want you to do is reapply for the medical, So I got all the forms, I filled them, I sent them in. And November passes, December, I'm like, let me go home. I'll come back when they call me. I get home, January, I keep calling, keep sending emails. I know we're still going through the process. There were so many applications this year. February, same thing. Luckily, that time I was now dating Sheba. And she's like, while you're waiting, so you just go do a business course somewhere. That's how I ended up going to Aussie.
First of all,
well, I was waiting to go do medicine because I wanted to do medicine or biomedical engineering.
Wait, slow down. You guys are running. Hey, there's a lot you're doing. When you go to, okay, but I've understood it all. This experience, the kids, God saving you, all of these experiences now ignites a passion in you.
Yes.
To bring a solution.
Yes.
That you're trying to look for.
Exactly.
I need to be a solution in this space.
Yes.
And the way that you can think of at this moment is, let me become a doctor, an oncologist.
Yes.
Guys can't go through this thing.
Yeah.
I need to be a solution.
Because I'm thinking I have both the lived experience and the medical knowledge. So when this guy is talking to me about on a scale of 1 to 10, but he's telling me, that day I was feeling like this. I don't, every story is different, every journey is different, but I have some sort of semblance of what he's talking about. So I felt like I'll be able to hit them on two fronts.
Experience and theory.
Yes.
But then also at the same time, you apply to go, you're also searching for this purpose thing. And you know your purpose, you know the destination, it's in this world of cancer. This oncologist is just one of the routes, or the route that at that moment of time you're thinking.
Yes.
So you jump all in, you want to do oncology or become an oncologist through South Africa, but they tell you have to sort of do this bridging course.
Yes.
What was that year like in Joburg?
Joburg was very interesting.
Have you gone back to pinting? Have you gone back to...
At that point, I had stopped drinking completely.
Complete different shift
completely.
Focus. Yeah.
Completely. I had stopped drinking. I was very active in church. I was an usher in church while I was in Joburg. I was very, And that time I was dating Sheba, and she's like, "Hey, are you going to become a pastor?" I don't think I signed up for this. But anyway, Joburg was very interesting. This sister, she's the second born. She's 10 years older than me. By the time she was leaving the country to go for her further studies in the one who graduated in the UK,
yes,
who I went for her graduation.
Yeah.
By the time she's graduating, I mean, she's finishing her education. Yes. She came in Nairobi, she got a job. She was here for less than a year. Then she went to South Africa. So I've never really
done life.
Yeah, we don't really know each other that way. So for me, number one, it was interesting because I was actually getting to know who she is. And also now I'm older, we can relate on a different level. I'm a semi-adult.
Yes.
And she's there, I'm hosting her, I'm staying with her. But my life was school, church. That was it. Obviously, on the weekends, I'd go see a movie or go do this. Everything typically kids do. But I was on a different level of maturity from the kids I was with.
That's another thing.
So I wasn't into all the things those kids were doing, going out and drinking and this and that. I was at a point in my life where I'm like, I'm really looking to fulfill I'm determined. I'm going to become a doctor. This cancer thing, we are dealing with it now.
But then when you are in South Africa, Sheba has come back in the picture. You're dating.
We are dating at that point.
When did you start dating her? That means she's with you in 2004 during this cancer time?
No.
She's not, eh?
No.
Okay.
So after I finished my treatment, at some point I reconnected with her. I'd always ask my sister, hey, babe, how is Sheba doing? Nini, what? Because, we'd known her, we know the family, because she'd always talk to me about now Sheba's sister. Like, yeah, and how's Sheba? At some point, she got so frustrated. She's like, here's a number, ask her yourself. So that's how I started talking to Sheba. Yeah. I just sent her a message, hey, hi, how are you doing? I know it's been a while, blah, blah. I just want to see how you're doing.
You liked her?
I was just connecting. There was nothing.
Bro, you had wiped out numbers from your phone every December. What a story.
Exactly. So it was just a thing of how is Sheba, here's a number, ask her yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll ask her. So we just started chatting.
For real, are you just talking to her as a friend or you
just talking, just.
Or life has made you be like, yo.
I've not seen her since, pretty much since O levels. This is now 3-4 years later. So there's been no connection whatsoever, except, how is Sheba doing? She's good. In fact, she went to the States to see her sisters this year. This happened. So we just started chatting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. I've seen Aizo has brought the battery. We need to change the battery. We continue with this story.
So.